That's what we're doing with this awesome video. In this video, we will be reacting to scariest phone calls ever recorded that you can't unhear. Let's get into this video because this is going to be an amazing video. But before we do start, I do want to say go shop at my merch. The prices are very cheap over there, so go check out. And I guess let's start the video.
Phone calls can be a great way to keep in touch with friends or family, but because anyone can contact anyone else as long as they have their phone number, things can sometimes go wrong. There have been many cases of people getting very creepy and mysterious phone calls, and also very scary communications being captured thanks to phone calls and voicemails. What you're about to hear are some of the most creepy recorded phone calls of all time. Many of these are rather rare, but they're all incredibly terrifying. Dog warning. Dogs are a man's best friend, or at least that's what you think, but it turns out some people have a very sinister way of viewing animals. This recorded phone message comes from a man named John Dickerson's co-worker. One of Jonathan's co-worker's neighbors has called him. In the phone call, he says that his dog is disturbing the neighborhood. He says that he needs to train his dog better or get rid of the dog.
Your dog disturbs the neighborhood at night. Either keep him up or get rid of it.
That's pretty pushy, but not too creepy. But it soon turns incredibly dark and sinister.
Either keep him up or get rid of it, or I will poison him. This is your only warning.
The neighbor then says if nothing is done about the dog, he will poison it. He ends the message by saying, "This is your only warning." Not only is what he's saying incredibly creepy and also against the law, but it's also very sinister the way he says it. He sounds very calm and collected, and it did not seem like he was joking or exaggerating whatsoever. To make matters even stranger, the dog in question is tiny, and it lives indoors almost all the time. It's also not a very loud dog and does not bark very often. Jonathan has not posted any updates about this since, so we can only assume that the dog is fine and the neighbor never poisoned it. But it takes a really evil person to say they would do this to a dog. Dogs are like children to a lot of people, so this is seriously scary to hear. The weepy-voiced maniac. The voice in this call is from Paul Michael Stefani. He is also known as the Minneapolis Maniac. He took several lives in Minneapolis in the USA during the 1980s. But unlike other people who take lives, he would call the police in hysterics after doing so. He would be weeping and crying and saying how sorry he was for what he'd just done.
Sorry, I killed that girl. I stabbed her 40 times. Kimberly Compton was the first one over Facebook. I don't know what's the matter with me. I'm sick.
It must have been really creepy for the cop who picked up this call. Just imagine hearing a weeping, crying, and screaming voice, and then finding out that same voice is from a man who took many lives. Clearly, this guy was crazy and not mentally all there. Thankfully, in 1982, one of his would-be victims got away. She then led police to Stefani, and he was arrested. Area 51 call.
Anything with Area.
In 1997, a man called the Art Bell Talk Show. The man said that he had worked at the Area 51 base in Nevada, USA. This is the most secretive military base in the world. It's been confirmed that futuristic military aircraft are worked on here, and many say that real UFO and alien investigations also take place at Area 51. The man on the call wanted to share information about alien life. He was trying to share the secrets that he'd learned from working at Area 51.
Okay, what we're thinking of as aliens are they're extra-dimensional beings that an earlier precursor of the space program made contact with. They are not what they claim to be. They have infiltrated a lot of aspects of the military establishment, particularly the Area 51.
But as you can hear in the phone call, he was terrified. In the call, he says that they are going to find me. I'm not sure what he meant by they, but I assume it means the government or military. But here's where it gets crazy. Midway through the call, the radio station's power goes out. This happened out of nowhere, and they did not know why. why. When they got back on air, the caller was gone, and to this day he's never called back in. Maybe whoever they were really did get to the caller, or maybe the power going out was simply a coincidence. I don't really believe that it was a coincidence, and I think that perhaps the radio station's power was taken out. The Toronto Stud. If you're a woman, maybe you've had this same kind of thing happen to you. A man approaches you trying to pick you up, but he doesn't. Happen to you. A man approaches you trying to pick you up, but he does it in a very creepy and arrogant way. That's kind of what happens in this very cringe yet terrifying phone call. The uploader said this man was named Dimitri, but she jokingly calls him the Toronto Stud.
Why I approached you. I am single. I have no trouble meeting women. I mean, women approach me 6-7 times a day. I couldn't take my eyes off of you, and your friends were very jealous. Even if they say they weren't, they were envious of the fact that I approached you.
At the beginning, he seems like a very confident guy, but as the call goes on, it's clear he's very narcissistic. He says he's approached by women all the time, but he's very picky. He also said that the woman's friends would be jealous that he approached her, even if they said they weren't. Clearly, Dimitri is far too overconfident to the point where it becomes cringeworthy. But by his second phone call, he turns from cringe to scary. The end of his phone call seems like he's implying something bad would happen if this woman ever called him back.
Hi there, Olga. It's Dimitri calling again, the guy from the street. I left you a message several days ago. I don't know, maybe you were abused in childhood, maybe your mother has cancer, you're going to chemo, but otherwise, don't call me, okay? Bye.
I'm not sure why she'd ever want to call him after hearing those two very creepy voicemails. Bigfoot call. To some, Bigfoot is simply a legend, while to others, Bigfoot's existence is totally real. This phone call is a 911 call which was made in 1997. It comes from a man who lives in a rural part of Washington state. He said that there was an unidentified creature standing in his backyard. He says the creature is 6 foot and 9 inches tall and standing on 2 legs.
Yes, I'm home right in. Uh-oh.
Okay, hang on.
He's right.
Is he in bird, sir?
Yeah, I got it. Thanks.
Okay, what's his near yard?
He's looking big.
His eye is on foot.
I don't know what is he a big, real big person? That's all I can say.
Okay, it is a person.
Bigfoot believers are convinced that this man saw Bigfoot. The man in the call is clearly very freaked out and scared. The 911 dispatcher even checks, saying, "Is it a person?"
Real big person. That's all I can say.
Okay, it is a person.
But the man did not seem convinced and seemed to think it was some kind of other animal or creature. It's not me.
Okay.
This voicemail comes from a YouTube user named Hellsinger85. They say that they received it after investigating some weirdness in their hometown of Amory, Mississippi. The voicemail is incredibly mysterious and creepy, and to this day it's still not been explained.
I couldn't told you. And no matter what you do,
Some of it is unintelligible, but you can definitely hear someone saying, "If I come to your door, don't let me in." They then say, "It's not me, it won't be me." The reason for this call has never been discovered, and to this day the caller's identity remains a mystery. The Night Stalker.
Okay.
The Night Stalker is a nickname given to the maniac Richard Ramirez. He operated in California in the late 80s. He took 15 people's lives. But the creepy thing is, he would actually call them before he did this. Here is one of those calls. You can't quite make out what he's saying. He's breathing very heavily. But even if you can't tell what he's saying, it still sounds very scary. Just imagine receiving this call late one night.
Sounds like
Rainbow Granny.
I'll kill you.
These voicemails come from Chessie J.
Yes, Rainbow Granny, baby. Did you get my picture? You better call me, or I'm gonna keep calling you. Rainbow Granny loves you, baby. I was on the phone with my son. If you get time, call me back. I miss you, Peter. I'm still waiting on them beautiful purple flowers, baby.
The phone calls are from a very creepy-voiced, deranged individual calling themselves Rainbow Granny. Rainbow Granny keeps referring to Chessie as Peter, and also keeps asking if she got his other messages. It's hard to tell if Rainbow Granny is a man or an elderly woman. At one point, Rainbow Granny asks, "Did you get my pictures?" It's not known what this picture was of, as Chessie did not receive anything. Some believe this could have been an elderly woman who'd lost her mind, or maybe a very deranged man, but we really don't know, and to this day Rainbow Granny remains a total mystery. But now it's time to make your voice heard. Comment down below.
The Rainbow Granny is very creepy. But so that would be it for the video. If you guys are new to the channel, please subscribe and like, and don't forget to share, and don't forget to go to my store and buy some merch. And that would be all for the video, and goodbye y'all, and have a wonderful day.